Actually, I have two letters, one from Senator Merkley and also one from Senator Wyden. So we're fully represented here today in terms of our U.S. Senate representation. On July 2nd, I was able to participate in a border-to-border run with three Leafs. Ashley Borvat from ODOT, Jeff Merkley and his Leaf, and me and my Leaf. Went from here to Ashland, charging at all the new charging stations that are available on I-5 to show that, stopping to talk, of course, as we charge to various local groups, and we got to see a good mix of Oregon companies and schools and people that are working in electric cars around the state that we didn't know about. So we were very thankful to our people at the federal level, at the state level, locally in the counties and cities. Everywhere, businesses and government are working to make this charging network happen. And the net is, we can be wild and free and roam about the state freely, just like you can with a gas car. So that's happening now. Just get your PlugShare app and look at all the little charging stations that are popping up. It's really amazing. So, okay, so again, this is from Senator Merkley. It says, "Dear Oregon Electric Vehicle Association, Happy Electric Vehicle Celebration Day. As a strong advocate of ending our addiction to overseas oil, I'm pleased that today's event celebrates how far we have come in Oregon with electric vehicle deployment. I also look forward to a future with many more electric vehicles on the road." To celebrate our nation's independence, last week I toured Oregon completely oil-free. I started at the Washington border and traveled in a Nissan Leaf to the California border, driving over 300 miles without paying for a single drop of gas. I made 9 stops along the way, charging the car and discussing with Oregonians how we can best move forward to a clean energy future. I am currently partnering with Senator Lamar Alexander, a Republican of Tennessee, to introduce the Promoting Electric Vehicles Act. This bill would provide short-term incentives for rapid development and production of electric vehicles. Additionally, it would create deployment communities to serve as models and help determine best practices for nationwide use of electric vehicles. The development of alternative energy sources and breaking our addiction to oil will help our national security, our economy, and our environment. An incredible triple win. I want to thank you for the work that you are doing to highlight these issues. Again, happy Electric Vehicle Day, and I know that I will continue to fight for a brighter future with more electric vehicles on the road. All my best, Jeffrey A. Merkel, United States Senator.
Woohoo! Yeah!
Okay, so thank you, Senator Merkley, for all of the work you've done in helping us get grants to get these charging stations installed rapidly. And I also have a letter from Senator Ron Wyden, which I'll now also read. Okay? Dear friends, while I cannot be with you today, I do not want to miss the opportunity to add my voice to the chorus, celebrating Oregon's leadership in electrical vehicle deployment. As one of the initial test markets for the largest rollout of electric vehicles in U.S. history, Oregon has once again shown the nation and the world that we are a state that knows how to get things done. This could not have happened without cooperation from everybody involved. Federal, state, and local governments lowered barriers, provided expertise, and supplied funding for EV purchases and initial infrastructure. Utilities, businesses, electricians, and civic institutions collaborated to install the charging stations so vital to reducing range anxiety. Because of that uniquely Oregonian teamwork, today one can, as my colleague Senator Merkley did last week, drive from Portland to Ashland entirely on electric power. As our nation moves to reduce our dependence on imported oil and toward a lower carbon future, electric vehicles have the potential to be a real game changer. In addition to increased efficiency that electric motors bring to transportation, Oregon's large portfolio of renewable energy generation means that the benefits of electric vehicles use here will be multiplied. I am particularly intrigued by opportunities that increased electric vehicle usage brings to the problem of storing renewable energy. As you know, renewable energy, specifically wind and solar generated electricity, is more variable, which presents challenges to the power grid. In addition to their role of reducing fossil fuel use and associated air pollution, electric vehicles could function as individual reservoirs for those times when renewable energy supply exceeds the demand, as has happened in each of the last 2 years. Legislation that I have introduced to promote energy storage, the Storage Act, specifically recognizes the potential for plug-in electric vehicles to be used for this purpose. So as you celebrate Oregon's advances in EV utilization, I want you to know that from my seat on the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee, I will be working to support your efforts to increase the use of alternative fuel vehicles, particularly electric vehicles. Sincerely, Ron Wyden, U.S. Senator. So again, we are very thankful to have both of our senators on board. And I think Senator Wyden has recognized something that has been sort of on the vision of some on the very far horizon. But as we use more electric vehicles, they provide battery storage, more than we normally use. And so the problem with using solar and wind is that it comes and goes as nature dictates. And so electric vehicles are already capable of tracking those generations, so they can charge when you want to have them charge. And all of that results in a more stable grid. This is such a big deal. In fact, I think when I was at Intel, the smart grid and the use of electric vehicles tied to the grid and renewable energy is a huge deal. It's much bigger than the internet. It's worthy of major corporations to research and invest in it. So as we look at declining oil, and it's not just a cyclical thing, we have an economy that the Department of Energy will tell you is very much tied to oil. Whenever the price of oil goes up, we go into a recession. And as oil production peaked, as a lad, I worked for the Office of Emergency Preparedness in monitoring President Nixon's wage price freeze. Little did Nixon didn't know, and when he instituted that U.S. oil production had peaked in 1970. Okay? Then there was a huge effort in the 80s called the Alaska Pipeline. So that was a little tiny bump on the bell curve going down. And now once again, we have another little tiny bump on the bell curve of U.S. oil production going down called shale oil in North Dakota. So, but the general trend is a structural trend. And unfortunately, if you look at oil production globally, it's pretty flat for 2000 to 2010. So the peak might have been 2005. It's really hard to tell when you're right at the top of the curve. But rather than be captive to declining things in a pessimistic, gloomy future, the sooner we switch to electric transportation, the sooner we can leverage the abundant solar resources. We have 100 to 1,000 times more solar energy than we use. And to tap just a tiny fraction of that, especially if we use electric cars, to store it, as Senator Wyden has suggested, we can ensure that our economy is a prosperous economy while others that refuse to change are dying. So there's gold in them, there are hills, basically. Let's go get it with electric vehicles, the smart grid, and renewable power.
Woohoo!
Thank you very much.
Yeah.